Liberty German and Abigail Williams were two bright, adventurous girls from Delphi, Indiana. On the afternoon of February 13, 2017, they set out for what seemed like an ordinary walk on the Monon High Bridge Trail, a peaceful and scenic spot that had become a favorite for locals. They were both 14 and 13 years old, full of life and curiosity, and eager to explore the world around them. Libby had her phone with her, and as they strolled along the snow-covered trail, they chatted about everything that mattered to them: school, friends, and their plans for the weekend. The trail, known for its beautiful views, seemed like the perfect place for two friends to catch up and enjoy each other's company. But something was wrong. As the day turned to evening and the sky darkened, Libby and Abby didn't return home. Concerned, their families began searching, and soon the authorities joined the effort. The trail was combed, the area around Delphi buzzing with worry as the clock ticked on. By the following day, February 14th, the unthinkable happened. Liberty and Abigail were found, but not in the way anyone had hoped. They were discovered deceased, their lives brutally cut short. The peaceful trail that once had been a place of joy and innocence was now a haunting reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded there. The community of Delphi was shattered. The girls, so full of promise and potential, had been taken from them in an act of unimaginable cruelty. The town, once small and quiet, found itself thrust into the spotlight with many questions left unanswered. Who could have done this? Why would anyone harm these girls? The investigation into the murders of Libby and Abby became one of the most talked about cases in Indiana and eventually the nation. The authorities released a chilling audio clip recorded by Libby on her phone before the death, where a voice could be heard saying, "Down the hill." The mystery deepened, and the search for the killer grew more intense. With each passing day, the hope was that someone, anyone, would come forward with information that could lead to justice. As the years went on, the memory of Liberty and Abigail remained alive in the hearts of those who knew them. Their faces, their laughter, and their dreams could never be forgotten. The tragedy on the Monon High Bridge Trail would remain a painful chapter in Delphi's history, one that no one would ever fully understand. In the years following, the town would continue to grieve, but they also vowed to honor the girls' memory. They organized vigils, held memorials, and created foundations to raise awareness and prevent future tragedies. Liberty and Abby's story became a rally cry for justice, and their names lived on as a reminder of the preciousness of life, the importance of community, and the need for justice for those who can no longer speak for themselves. While the mysteries surrounding their deaths remained unsolved, the world knew that the girls would never be forgotten, and that the search for the truth would never stop. Their story, full of heartbreak, loss, and unanswered questions, would stand as a testament to the innocence they held and the strength of a community that would never stop fighting for justice. Richard Allen was a quiet, unassuming man who lived on Whiteman Drive in Delphi, Indiana, a small, tight-knit town where everyone knew each other. On the surface, Richard led a simple life. He worked at a local CVS and kept mostly to himself. He wasn't known for stirring up trouble, and his name was rarely mentioned in the local gossip that often swirled around the town. For many, Richard was just another neighbor, an ordinary man blending in with the rest. But that all changed on October 28, 2022, when a dramatic twist in the case of Liberty German and Abigail Williams, the two young girls murdered on the Monon High Trail in 2017, would forever alter the quiet life Richard had led. Authorities had released a cryptic clue, a voice captured on Libby's phone. The haunting words, "Down the hill," spoken by an unknown man. They also shared a sketch of a suspect, but despite widespread media attention, No one had been able to connect the dots. The town of Delphi, where so many knew each other, was left in the grips of uncertainty. Then on the fateful day of October 2022, the unthinkable happened. Richard Allen, the quiet pharmacy technician from Whiteman Drive, was arrested in connection with the murders of Libby and Abby. The arrest sent shockwaves through the community, which had never suspected him. How could a man like Richard, who had kept himself and blended into the background, be one responsible for such a heinous crime? Details of his arrest came slowly. The investigation revealed that Allen's name had surfaced early on, but the lead sheet had accidentally been marked cleared and filed away, only to be rediscovered 5 years later. According to reports, Allen had been in the area near the Monon High Bridge Trail and on the bridge the day of the murders. It was later revealed that his car had been parked near the trail on February 13, 2017, the same day the girls were last seen alive. Authorities also found disturbing evidence linking Allen to the crime. Forensic analysis and ballistic tests led investigators to believe he was the one who had committed the murders. The arrest of Richard Allen sent ripples of disbelief through Delphi. People who had known him for years were stunned. Friends, co-workers, and even his neighbors struggled to reconcile the image of the quiet man they thought they knew with the man accused of taking 2 young lives. As news of Allen's arrest spread, the town of Delphi became a place of renewed grief and shock. The questions that had loomed over the case for years, who did this, why, began to inch closer to a resolution. Yet with the arrest, the community was left to grapple with the haunting thought that someone so familiar, someone who lived just down the street, could be capable of such an unimaginable crime. Throughout the ensuing investigation, it was revealed that Allen had been living just a short distance from where the girls had last been seen, a mere 1.7 miles from the Monon High Bridge Trail. The realization that a person who had lived so close to them could be responsible for their deaths left many in the town feeling a sense of betrayal. Those who had passed him on the street, spoken to him in passing, or even known him casually as a neighbor were now forced to confront the painful truth that their quiet neighbor may have harbored a darkness no one could have anticipated. As the trial approached, the small town of Delphi braced for what was yet to come. Many, including the families of Libby and Abby, hoped that the arrest of Richard Allen would bring them the justice they had longed for. But the shock of it all hung heavy over the town. For so many, Richard Allen was the face of their community, and to learn that he was connected to one of the most horrific crimes in their town's history was something they could not easily shake. The case of Liberty German and Abigail Williams would no longer be just another cold case. Richard Allen's arrest had brought it back into the spotlight, and though much remained to be uncovered, there was a flicker of hope that the truth about the fateful day on the Monon High Bridge would finally come to light. In Delphi, the arrest was turning point, one that left the town forever changed, but the families of Libby and Abby, it was the first step toward the justice they had waited for so long. For Richard Allen, the quiet man from Whiteman Drive, the quiet life he had lived would now be overshadowed by an unspeakable crime he was accused of committing. The details of the murders would soon come to light in the trial. The girls had been forced off the bridge at gunpoint by Allen. It was believed that he had intended to abduct them, take them down the steep hill near the bridge, where he would commit brutal acts. Libby, ever resourceful, had managed to record part of the encounter, and the audio captured the chilling moment when Allen told the girls down the hill, signaling his intent to take them further into the woods and across the creek. Once they were in a more remote area, Richard Allen attacked. The details of what happened next were too horrific to fully comprehend. But in the end, they were overpowered by the older man. The authorities later revealed that they had found no signs of sexual assault, but the injuries sustained by both girls were severe and violent. It became clear that the killer had acted with intent, striking with brutality that left the community reeling in disbelief. The trial, which began in 2024, brought with it overwhelming weight of grief and the long-awaited pursuit of justice. The families of Libby and Abby had endured years of pain and uncertainty, but now, finally, they were able to see their daughter's killers brought to justice. As the courtroom proceedings unfolded, the details of the murders were revealed to the public for the first time, and the townspeople learned just how deeply this tragedy had affected everyone in their town. Richard Allen was charged with 2 counts of murder. The prosecution presented a case built on forensic evidence, including ballistic tests, as well as the recording from Libby's phone, which had been critical in identifying Allen as the killer. The defense, on the other hand, tried to paint a picture of doubt, arguing that there were inconsistencies in the evidence and that Allen had been unfairly targeted by law enforcement. But in the end, the weight of evidence was undeniable. The jury convicted Richard Allen of the murders of Liberty German and Abigail Williams. He was sentenced to 130 years in prison without the possibility of parole. For the families of Libby and Abby, the conviction brought a measure of peace, though the pain of their loss would never fully go away. They had fought for years to see justice done, and now they could begin to heal, knowing that the man who had taken their daughters' lives would never walk free again. As the years pass, the town of Delphi will continue to remember Liberty and Abigail, not only as victims of brutal crimes, but as the forces of hope and resilience. Their story, which began with such tragedy, would ultimately serve as a reminder to the community and a nation that justice, no matter how long it takes, would eventually prevail. Revelation 21:4. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more.